Okay, I really liked the town hall presentations. I think the overall feel was very positive, and people talked a lot about student empowerment and helping students feel loved in our classrooms. I love those topics. So I presented on democratic classrooms, and so I will be talking about the other topics, which were theory or level of teacher control, motivation in the classroom, preventative measures, interventions, and learning environment. So for theory and teacher control, I really liked how diverse the ideas were for the different theorists and the different levels of teacher control. I think everyone had a different theorist and everyone had a slightly different view about the level of teacher control that they want in their classroom. And then something that I really liked from this section, and I think it was probably the most important part for me, was what someone said about letting students have one success a day so that they're feeling like they're making progress. And when students don't feel like they're making progress, it can be so frustrating to stay motivated and keep trying. And as teachers, we need to find some way, even if it's not academic that day, that a student has a success so they can stay motivated in our class. Um, for motivation, I think it was really good that all the people presenting went over the types of motivation and they gave really good examples for each of them. Um, I think for this section, the thing that is the most important for me is to show our students the benefit of their work so that they stay more motivated. Um, Someone talked about how we can do that. They said we can't directly motivate a child, but we can create an environment where students are motivated. And then we can do that by having really good relationships with our students. And ways that we can do that is by being interested in their personal lives and their interests, their families, so that they feel like we're real people, not just their teachers. And they feel comfortable with us and they can stay motivated in our classroom because they are comfortable. And then for preventative, this section, the most important part for me was probably the idea that we should state rules in a positive way. An example of this would be that we should say, keep our hands to ourselves instead of don't hit or touch other people. Um, and I think that's a really good way to keep positivity in the classroom and to help students see the best in themselves and see the best in other students around them as well. For intervention, my favorite quote from this section was probably students don't learn from those they don't like. And that's probably the most important part for me as well. I think it's really important that we don't become the bad guy or the enemy to our students. We need to find that balance of being their friend and being their teacher. And someone gave a really good example of proximity and how we can do that to intervene in a misbehavior without having to confront or embarrass the child in front of the entire class. And I really liked how someone mentioned that we need to make sure not to jump to the worst punishment or conclusion, because after that, there's nowhere else for us to go. If the student does something worse, they're just going to keep testing our limits because they know that we can't give any more worse consequences than what they've already had. Um, and then for learning environment, I have always been a huge believer in how much the environment around you affects your productivity, just your feel about what you're doing. And I know I have a clean, quiet, comfortable environment that I am much more productive, focused, and I feel much better about the work that I produce. And the same goes for our classrooms. I think this was the most important thing from this section, just creating a good environment for our students to work in. It will have a huge impact on their work and how focused and even what their school or what their views about school are. Because if they feel more comfortable, then they're just going to like school more. And then something else that I really liked was how someone said that the layout of the classroom can have a huge impact on the success of transitions and procedures. For example, if there's just a natural flow of traffic in the classroom where students walk easy through desks and things, and there's a much higher chance that they will be successful in transitions and procedures. So yeah, that's my video.